Good Saturday morning. I don't just went live. Don't expect anybody to be here yet, so we'll wait a couple minutes. See if people filter in a little bit. And in case you're wondering, which maybe you are or you're not, we spent the morning shoveling snow and ice out of the ditch because now it's raining. Things are starting to flood, so that's going to be awesome because now we're supposed to have thunderstorms later today into this evening, and then it's supposed to get cold later on. So I see one of you here. Whoever you are, give me a thumbs up and say something in the chat. So, all right, looks like people are starting to filter in now. Give it a couple more minutes. I think it's been a couple weeks since I've been live on a Saturday morning. Hey, Cody. How you doing this morning, Cody? Can you hear me? Let me know. People should start filtering in anytime. Hopefully getting back to our normal Saturday morning live stream time. So I got a few things to talk about here this morning. Imagine people will be popping in. So we'll go ahead and get started. And then I can back the train up. Hey, Keith. Hey, Terry. All right. Yeah, people starting to come in now. Those notifications must take a few minutes. Yes, Ireland. Hey, Bob. Sat Vision. Barry. Barry's the man out in Pennsylvania. He's got excellent taste in coffee and technology. Barry's a friend of mine. Morning, everybody. Everybody's filling in here. Eric, it's going. You know, you guys saw that I didn't have a video with me this week. So to kind of tell you what happened, last Saturday afternoon, I was planning on doing some editing on a video, and the laptop, it was a Windows 10 update and the bad update. So that update literally took 7 hours to finish on that laptop. However, in the afternoon, last Saturday afternoon, I came down with a fever. I started having, the shivers, full body aches. So my temperature was 102. And then I ended up going to the doctor on Tuesday, and it went from the flu to strep. So now I'm on actual penicillin for 10 days from Tuesday. So I just got to go back to the office on Thursday, and I really just got, I didn't really sleep from Saturday night because I kept waking up like every 15 minutes because I was sweating and I had this fever and I just felt like crap. So I didn't really get any good sleep until like Wednesday night into Thursday after that penicillin had kicked in. And so now I'm behind on things and trying to get caught up. And it's interesting, but I wanted to make time. I am going to make time to do the videos, whether I need to burn the midnight oil or whatever. I've got some good videos that I want to get out. I'll show you a couple things. Northern Florida. Yeah, that's probably, what is it, about 70 degrees down there, William Coon, 70, 75. So it's going to get about, I don't know, 40 or 50 here, thunderstorm, and then we're going to be high 30s the rest of the week. So, hey, Dave Wilkinson. So Dave from the UK is asking, how did the Harbor install go? So if you remember a few weeks ago on the live stream, we talked about like this miniature ISP setup that we did for a Harbor, and I shipped everything there. And unfortunately, that big ass antenna that you saw got damaged in shipping. So the gentleman who received that, I told him, I said, I have pictures to prove it was not damaged. When I sent it, he's got pictures of the damage, and I can tell you, it looks like somebody at FedEx took like a machete and shoved it through the box into the antenna. So we'll see what they're going to end up doing for us. Yeah, I am getting. I am feeling a little better. Yeah. Um, William Kuhn says it's 65 and raining, and they had frost in Florida on Tuesday. So he is in the northern part. And if you go out, you can read stories in Florida about how when it gets colder than colder than usual, about how all these different things they do to keep the citrus crops from completely dying. And it's really interesting. People almost literally go through hell to make sure that we have oranges from Florida. It's an amazing feat of human beings that make sure those plants don't completely die. So somebody asked, what is up with USG 3s disconnecting and going to provisioning loops? I've had this happen numerous times over the past couple of months. That's one problem that I haven't seen, is the provisioning loop. But let's talk about, so I had somebody ask a question about if an edge switch could act like a different type of switch, a different manufacturer, and I didn't know. So this person, and I'm only going to use, I'm not going to use the name at all, but if he is listening, we'll know who he is. He knows that I started working out again, so sent me a really nice pair of Bluetooth headphones, and I appreciate that. You guys, he said that I impacted his life in a positive way, so he wanted to impact my life in a positive way. And from the bottom, man, that's the feels right there. And I just, it was amazing. So he sent me the headphones, but also sent me this switch. Let me show you this switch, because we are going to do some videos on the switch, but I'm going to just give you a real brief overview. So this is a Netgear Nighthawk S8000. This is not a router. This is an actual Ethernet switch. They call it a gaming and streaming switch. And it is supposed to have some capabilities that give it a leg up over other switches for streaming and for gaming. I will tell you that this thing, for being as big as it is, this thing weighs like 4 pounds. This thing is amazingly heavy, and it's a really awkward shape. It's like a wedge. If my wife got pissed off, she could hit me with that, and it would hurt. There is no way. It's got rubber feet on the bottom. There's no way to mount it to the wall unless you get creative. The reset button is on the bottom. It's an 8-port switch, and they're all gigabit. It's all blue LEDs. Now, there's a larger version of this where you can actually control the color of the LEDs, and it has two 10 gigabit uplink ports. Now, I will tell you that if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you saw a picture of some Ruckus / Brocade switches that I'm deploying as part of a VMware and storage cluster. And I'm going to do a video on how we got to those switches, why we decided to go with those switches for that application. That is a video that is coming. And I will tell you that it actually came down to those and the Netgear Enterprise switches. And what the deciding factor for us was, after we looked at all of the information, was that with the Ruckus / Brocade, I'm still not sure what to call the switches, because they were Brocade and Ruckus, and I don't know, that asset's been sold, but it's still a solid platform. What it came down to was that Netgear would not guarantee that third-party SFPs, and also the place where we buy our SFPs, it was kind of questionable. We could only get one type of SFP, and we needed some flexibility. So it all came down to the SFPs, right? The SFP pluses. And so that's why we ended up, that was the ultimate deciding factor. And so when I get into that video, you'll see, first of all, Cisco eliminated themselves on price right out of the gate. Everything about the Cisco model is unfriendly. in this situation. Ubiquiti, the hardware performance took them out right out of the way. So I am going to do that. It'll be a side by side comparison. We actually started out with like 6 manufacturers. MikroTik was in the mix, Ubiquiti, Cisco. So we started with all those. We started looking at the features and the performance, and eventually got down to the Ruckus Brocade solution. And man, they are awesome. A little bit of a learning curve, but I will be overly proficient with those switches in the next couple of weeks. So, because that's what we do. We get in there and we make things work. So back to this Netgear switch, man, this thing is heavy. It's got a web UI, and it is supposed to, the question was, so what you're supposed to be able to do on this switch is you're supposed to be able to tell it that like this port, excuse me, which is port number 8 is your uplink. Okay. Then you're supposed to actually be able to give port priority, right? So you can give whatever's plugged into these other ports priority over the other ports. That's one of the like selling features of this switch, is not only quality of service, layer 2 quality of service, but you can actually give ports different priorities. So your uplink port, of course, would have a high priority because all the traffic is going to flow out of that port. But then if I had like a voice over IP phone plugged in here, I could tell this switch that port number 1 gets the highest priority out of the other ports. That's fantastic, especially for a $70 switch. And so we're going to get this fired up next week, get a video done on this guy, and then compare it to the compare it to the Edge switch. I don't think we're going to be able to do the same thing with the Edge switch that this Netgear switch can do, to be honest with you. So, excuse me, good Lord. Let me scroll back through the questions here real quick. Yeah, 0 degrees Celsius weather, no good, Danny. You can keep that. Yeah, William Kuhn says they have a customer that owns a nursery and they cover about 50 acres under tarps to stop frost damage. 50 acres of tarps. That is crazy. By the way, if you didn't know, or maybe William Kuhn can tell us, and I won't give you the answer, how many acres are in a square mile? All right. Nobody gets anything for that. It's just just a question. Let's see. Hey, Shane. Am I going to do more videos on the Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus? Yes, I am, Richard. Yes, I am. Edward, I have not had a chance. I very rarely get a free day if I'm not, doing things for my main job. And then I'm doing consulting or trying to do videos or spending family time. I did get some complete alone time on Wednesday because I was sick and I did not move from the couch, and it sucked, but I needed that downtime. Keith says that we can just put a screw all the way through that switch into the wall. That's funny. SBC Cave. Yeah, my wife does not hit me in a safe way. When she hits me, it hurts. Sean Woods is here. Sean Woods is the let's see. Let's come up with a nickname for Sean Woods. Sean is the Nano HD guru. He is deploying UniFi Nano HDs like Ubiquiti is going to stop producing them. Let's see. Michael, somebody did say that there's a custom firmware for that switch. But I'm wondering if when I put the name out there and they saw Nighthawk, they actually meant, Nighthawk the router, and this is the Nighthawk the switch. So I'm not 100% sure. SBCK, we were looking at the 3800 series model of Cisco switches. Yeah, all Cisco stuff is expensive, especially even then looking at the Meraki. Sean Woods, I need whiskey, not tea. Tea's not a strong enough today, but I have to remain functional today. So maybe I'll have a little bit of whiskey later. Maybe I'll have tea and whiskey in my tea with some honey. I don't know. We'll figure that out. The Woodinator. Yeah, I'm not going to be calling Sean the Woodinator, but I'll definitely call him the Nano HD Guru. He loves those things. Yes, and if you're in the big ass VPN project, I did send out an email. So we had a lot of people that gave me wrong information. There were 125 actual respondents. And so I put out the other form. I'll be looking through that information and I'll be starting to contact people. I expect it's going to take us over a month to get everything up and going because there's going to be overlapping subnets and things like that. So I'm going to have to help people, come up with VLAN specifically for this. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Henry, yes, I actually really like Extreme Networks, and I actually have a rack full of Extreme Networks gear. But the price for that project, I did have a finite amount of dollars for that project, and so that was looming. It wasn't Cisco dollars, but it was it. I would go Extreme if I had the dollars. May even go Arista, higher end switch vendors, but you really pay for those. But the products, I mean, you're talking high volume trading, casinos, things like that, where latency is an issue. They're using Extreme. They're using Arista. They're using vendors you've never even heard of because they are able to cut the latency down on the switching. It's not nanoseconds, or I don't know. It's so our minds. It's like trying to understand how big the universe is. It like makes your head hurt. Like the time, the amount of latency that they are getting rid of is just, it's insane when you start reading about it. So there's a lot of switch vendors out there that do awesome stuff, but they are awesome expensive. But I do have Extreme in the lab and I love it. Yeah, Extreme also, why am I thinking Extreme did all the Wi-Fi for the Super Bowl? Can anybody verify that for me? But I'm like, I've got like an 85% confidence level that Extreme did the Super Bowl. And so when you get a company like Extreme in there, they're going to send an engineer out. You're not going to go to a chat support online. They're going to send an engineer out, but you're talking the gear. I mean, I don't know. I'm lucky that I had somebody send me some Extreme gear. It was unopened. It had never been deployed. And I love it. Not only does it look cool, even the config cable's purple. It's absolutely awesome. So you get these green LEDs with this purple chassis. And that's not why I would buy it, but the performance of the products is amazing. Hey, Zach Relaford. Zach is a brother. And if you don't know what a brother is what I call another Freemason. And Zach lives not that far away from me. And he works for an organization. You can see it in the chat. But yeah, so you can see that they are cutting over to Extreme where he's at. And so he says it's going extremely well. And I mean, like I said, Extreme is one of those companies like Juniper. I worked on a deal with Juniper Networks where somebody accidentally, the pre-sales engineer recommended SRX boxes, which are security gateways, with T1 cards instead of the J series router with a T1 card. And you cannot, turn off the RTSP or the SIP ALG on the SRX. You just cannot do it. So it kept eating voice packets and jacking with the voice network. I mean, they sent a dude out of Chicago to Peoria, and we were on a phone call at 3 a.m. with an engineer in Hong Kong, and it didn't cost me a thing. The gear was expensive, and then you can buy JTAC on top of that. But to correct a problem that their pre-sales engineer made, they footed the cost for the whole thing. And those are the kinds of companies you want to work with. I love Juniper. If you've never used JunoS, in fact, because of some of the mistakes they made, they extended my certification. My certification for Juniper, I had the JunoS certification and then the Juniper switching certification. They just expired not that long ago because they extended them. I love JunoS. It's very curly bracketed, just like Viata and EdgeOS, and so everything is nested and very nice and hierarchical, and I love it. Love it. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Zach, you're going to find all kinds of customers on Extreme Networks, customers that need reliability and don't want Cisco. So, yeah. If you go out and read the white paper for the Super Bowl, 2017 Super Bowl, if you're a white paper person, I don't know if there's a video on it or not. You're going to have to search on YouTube, but it talks about how Extreme designed the wireless network for tens of thousands of people to be connected simultaneously. I love Ubiquiti. I would never put Ubiquiti at the Super Bowl. I just wouldn't do it. It would not, it wouldn't, you don't want to put a product in a place where you know it's not going to perform well and put it in a negative light. That's just not the venue to install Ubiquiti gear. Schmarvin says last I saw an Extreme install, thought I saw them keep an engineer on site for after turnup. It probably did. Keith says his sister works for a network supplier for high volume traders, and they use Arista switches using layer 2. Yep, many milliseconds faster than fiber over thousands of kilometers. And this is what we're talking about. You know, there are switch vendors and equipment vendors that know how to really dial this stuff in. Let's see. Yeah, networking gear. I am a hoarder of networking gear. Jeff, I don't know if Ubiquiti will have a 4K camera anytime soon. I doubt it. If you look at their kind of target audience that they're grabbing with the way they're treating the video product right now, I don't know, but they're going to have to do something. If they're not going to support standards, you know, they're going to have to come up with some more gear, because the current lineup that they have, they're missing some pan tilt zoom and things like that. And people want pan tilt zoom. If they had a license plate reader, I would be back whole hog into the video line. So we're just going to see. We're going to watch this video thing and see how it plays out. So Schmarvin says, speaking of venues for Ubiquiti, we had a request to see if we would install DAS for multiple venues, indoor and outdoor. Would UniFi APs be a good fit? It just depends on the requirements. How many people are going to be connected? You know, what kind of throughput do you need? Things like that. Hey, Jeff. I am trying to use my printer across 3 VLAN, which include guest VLAN with UniFi gear. Can you help? Espion, DJ, you are going to need to create some firewall rules on local in on UniFi, and you're going to have to create a couple IP or a couple groups. You want to create a port group that's called printer, put port 9100 in there, then create an address group that has the IP address of the printer. Go to your LAN in and allow all networks to get to those two things. And you should be able to print to that printer. Yeah, Jeff Harris says 4K cameras provide beautiful picture, but the cost and storage requirements are next level. Now that depends. Are you still transcoding to H264? Have you moved on to 265? Lots of things in there as well. Hey, Aruba, that'd be all right. So we are not going to be advertising this whole PewDiePie BS that's going on with him and that other channel. We're not getting mixed up in other YouTubers' drama. We got enough drama of our own. All right, Matthew says, I am guilty of it as well, keeping network gear. Also, I love networking between PCs and networks. I am good at it. Just need a more consistent job, as I'm not in my preferred job at the moment. Keep your head up, Matthew. Keep getting experience. Put your name out there. Donate some time, maybe at a nonprofit, helping them fix things up. Anything to bolster that resume. So let's see. What else do we have? So I'll be doing a video on these. So Synology, they did send me the mesh router. So we're going to do a full unboxing of this, looking at the specs, joining it to the mesh. We're going to look at the different configuration options for this. But I'm going to tell you, I'm really impressed with the footprint of this guy. If you take a look, cardboard box is winning. This is ridiculous. So this is the new router. You can see it's quite a bit smaller. And on the back over here, we've got the, what is that? That's the WPS and the Wi-Fi. So you can turn the Wi-Fi on and on. It's got WPS. It's got USB. We got WAN, LAN, power, and then the power button. And then, of course, the reset button. But the footprint on this new Synology router is quite a bit smaller. Here is I don't have a banana, but here's an iPod Touch in a case for reference. So you can see it's quite a bit smaller than the RTC 2600 AC. And we'll do a size comparison of those when we do the video. I want to get this one out, the initial video for this out next week as well. People are interested in bridge mode. How do we use this in bridge mode so that we can use the wonderful, I think Synology has the best parental controls right now. People are like, well, what about Disney Hub and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, the Disney Hub and the Fingbox, those are not routers. Okay. Those are network utilities that are manipulating the traffic on your local network. If I came to your house and you're like, I bet you can't get around this. I bet you I could in about 5 minutes. And if you're not careful, your kids are going to learn that your little toy that's doing ARP spoofing is just a little toy that's doing ARP spoofing, and they're going to kill it and they're going to get around it. And, it's good marketing shtick for non-technical people. Kids nowadays are much more technical. So there was also a question on the RT2600 AC video about, well, what if your kids spoof their MAC address? Well, awesome. If your kids know how to spoof a MAC address, kudos for them. And make sure that they're subscribed to the channel. And second of all, somebody brought up, just create a default policy that does the blocking anyway. Then it doesn't matter what their MAC address is. And then you can just build layers on top of that. I totally agree with that. All right, let's see. Yeah, Bob, right now I am recommending, I didn't get one of the new Ubiquiti systems. They didn't send me one of those. They've got the new Amplify. Amplify works good. I'm questioning a little bit if you all saw the new Amplify, this new NVIDIA gaming version, and call me doubting Thomas, but I don't know that you're going to get much better performance out of that. It's like there are companies right now who will sell you gaming network cards. Come on, please. We should go ahead and just sell, all the highest gold-plated, 14-karat gold-plated HDMI cables and Ethernet cables and all that shit too. Whatever. Don't waste your money. If you're going to spend $500 on an Ethernet adapter for gaming, call me first. I've got better ways we can spend $500. So people want to know if there's going to be more. People want to know if there's going to be more MikroTik videos. Oh, baby, is there going to be more MikroTik videos? Problem is, I've got more videos than I can get through. And I know people don't like it when I have other people do videos. I literally couldn't talk earlier this week. Tim offered to do a video to put some content on the channel. I was so appreciative that Tim wanted to put content on the channel. I went ahead and let him get everything ready. We put it up there. His video I thought was excellent. That Raspberry Pi video, I thought it was absolutely excellent. He gets all these thumbs downs, and I think those thumbs downs are because it's not me. Now, I'm not selling the channel out. Somebody else made a comment about, don't be selling your channel out. I'm not selling the channel out. We're putting content out there. You're still getting Willie Howe, just like everybody who calls or goes to williehowe.com. I love it when people are like, hey, I'd like to talk to Willie. No, you're talking to Willie, and my favorite thing is when people call and they're like, man, you sound just like you do in your videos. And I'm like, that's awesome, because I don't know how to be anything other than what you're talking to. I don't know how to be anything other than Willie Howe. So router board, there's a comment here that says router board is a bitch. there are very few good videos about them. Doing networking with MikroTik takes much more than normal. They are not click and pray. That is true. MikroTik is extremely powerful. I have one of the new MikroTik switches. One of my customers I have on loan. Let me grab something. All right, so on loan from one of my customers, I have one of the new MikroTik routers. We actually pulled 3 Edge routers out of production and replaced them with these MikroTiks because our failover requirements are not being met by the Edge routers. And trust me when I say we've spent tens of dozens, not tens of dozens. We've spent dozens of hours, not tens of dozens. We've spent dozens of hours trying to get failover to work the way we want with the Edge router. And every time the new firmware comes out or whatever, there's a new bug, and I'm not sure where things are in priority. And I'm talking to people, and I'm vouching for Ubiquiti. I'm like, they're going to fix it. They know it's a problem. And the customer says, I can't live with soon. I need results now. And I said, then you tell me what you want to do. And the customer said, how do you feel about MikroTik? And I said, I love MikroTik. And so this is the RB4011IGS, and it's an entirely metal router. The whole thing, the whole chassis is metal. And you can see it's built like a big ass heat sink. And you can mount it on the wall. Now it's got a 10 gig SFP. So this is an SFP plus cage right here. And then it's got 10 1 gig ports. Now I am going to do a video on this. I also have the newest MikroTik PoE switch, Ethernet switch that they came out with that can boot into either router OS or switch OS. And I have that, and we are pairing that with this. So the 10 gig SFP plus cage connects to that, and then this this goes to an Edge router or an Edge switch 10 gig, and then port. So we've got WAN 1, WAN 2, WAN 3. Then we got ETH1 goes to a switch, and this goes to a switch. And I am at a point now where I am configuring the failover for these, but this thing is built. So there will be a video on this because I will have to send this back at some point, and there'll be a video on that new switch. And I'm telling you, MikroTik is putting out some solid stuff. Go out and look at the FiberMux that they have. If you want to see something that's really cool, they have a FiberMux right now that will take a single pair of fiber, break the white light out into the multiple spectrums of light. And so effectively you can pump 8 gigabits over a gigabit, or you can pump 80 gigabits over a 10 gigabit because you're using all the spectrums of light that create white, and it breaks it out on each end. It's one of the most cool things that I've seen, and it's under $400. So yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Andrew says the Raspberry Pi video was solid. Don't worry about the haters. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not selling my channel out. I just want to get some content out there. There's a whole algorithm, to making sure that subscribers keep coming in. And I lost a lot of subscribers this week after I posted Tim's video. I lost probably 40 or 50 subscribers. And that all feeds into the way that YouTube presents our videos to people. Likes and dislikes also have a huge impact on the way your videos are presented to end users. And so I will tell you that I, in my life, can count on one hand how many times I have disliked a video. And if I don't like a video, I usually just walk away, just because I know that it jacks with the algorithm, and I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So Dave says, I think I read something on the Ubiquiti forum about taking the 900 megahertz solution out because of lightning. Are you doing any more 900 installs in the future? Can you document them if you do? The 900 megahertz for us has slowed down. The power company in the area is causing, we're causing each other a little bit of heartache. Neither one of us want to give up our ground. We're both dug in. So SCADA systems. So it used to be in the Peoria area, I didn't have to worry about it. 900 megahertz was clean and free and easy, and that is not so much the case anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at how we're deploying things, and anything that's a life safety issue, we will, since we're government licensed in the 4 gigahertz band, on that. Let's see. Good morning, Netherlands. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're EOLing over there, and they keep that under their hat as well. But I will show you. So so you saw the hex, but then what we've got is printer ink. I tell you what, folks, we are in the wrong business. This printer ink is like, I can't even believe how expensive printer ink is. It blows my mind. It breaks my heart. You know, it's like, why is printer ink so expensive? Because it can be, you know. And Epson did a firmware update to my printer up there, and I can't use third-party cartridges anymore, which is a bunch of bullshit. All right. Oh, also, Ubiquiti did send me a G3 Pro, and I have the micro camera back there, so you can expect to see videos on those as well. But you heard me all talking about in-wall access points, and there'll be a video on this as well. Like I said, I got more video ideas bouncing around than I got time. But this is the MikroTik. How do I pronounce it? MikroTik. Anyway, this is their in-wall access point solution, and it is fantastic. And you can see right here, this thing wins because it has an RJ11 pass-through. And I'm going to do a video on this, like I said, but on the inside, you can see we've got the RJ11 pass-through, because I'm not going to walk into a hotel and be like, nope, you got a Mitel, crappy Mitel hotel system, you got to upgrade it to VoIP, because I don't want to cut any holes in your wall. No. So unless I'm walking into a place that needs more than 75 megabits per room, I'm going to quote this MikroTik every time. Every time at this point, this guy's, depending on where you get it, between $40 and $60. It's got USB on the side. It's got PoE in. It's got PoE out. You can get a security screw to go in here. And this actually has knockouts. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it has knockouts. So you can go ahead and pre-plug in the cables and then screw this in. And so what allowed me to essentially win the bid at this hotel was, okay, first of all, I'm putting an access point in every room. I'm providing a hard Ethernet cable in every room. I'm providing the RJ11 pass-through in every room, which means I don't have to cut another hole in your wall to move the Ethernet cable. Now, when I leave somewhere, I don't want it to look like shit. And had I went with the Ubiquiti solution, not only would the cost have been 3 times as high, but I'd have had to knock another gang box in the wall, and I just didn't want to do that. So MikroTik, somebody better start taking these guys a little bit more seriously, because if they come out with an AC version, is this AC? I can't remember off the top of my head if this one's AC, but I mean, if they start doing putting higher end radios in these, and they keep it at that same price point. And I'm going to do a video series on Capsman, which is the MikroTik version of, it's not the Unify controller, but it is the system that allows me to control all of the access points in a given property and then do captive portal and things like that. So that will be coming as well. Like I said, lots of videos, little time, so I'm going to have to figure out how to prioritize those. plus, yeah. So Barry, all of Microtik's products use Router OS, and then it all just depends on the licensing level that you have. Unless it's a switch, then they have Switch OS now. Excuse me, which is awesome because guess what? Microtik's supposed to be bringing stacking, virtual stacking, in a firmware here soon. So I can't wait for that. Yeah, Schmarvin. Once we get done with that hotel, once the ink is dried and everything is installed, there'll be a total walkthrough. We'll do speed tests and we'll do all of that. Yeah. So, yeah. So a couple of the guys over at the Brothers Wisp, they do know a couple things, yeah, about Microtik. Here's the thing that I found. For me, it's easier to just get the box, set it up in the lab, and learn it. Because anytime I've ever asked anybody for any help on Microtik, I immediately get a sales pitch, and they want to. And I'm just asking a question. This just happened when I'm learning how to proficiently do the failover, because I could do 2 failovers. I knew how to do that already, but when you throw the 3rd or the 4th one in there, it gets a little different. And I wanted to make sure I'm doing it right. Everybody wants to sell me a service. Everybody wants to sell me a service, and I'm not interested in buying right now. I have a simple question. How does this, where does this number come from? And everybody wants to sell me a service. Even the guys, yeah, Mike and Justin and all those guys over there, they're smart guys. They would probably rather sell me a service. Now Mike does retweet some of my stuff. It doesn't always say that it's from me, but I'll hit him up on Google Hangouts, and he will post things that I won't post. He doesn't give a shit about controversy, and I at this point in my life, I don't need drama and I don't need controversy. So if I think something's controversial, I'll say, "Hey, Mike, you see this?" And then about 2 seconds later, it'll be out on the Brothers Wisp, and it'll be out on his stuff. So, but yeah. And there's James. James is my when I can't get to Grandstream stuff, James is my guy. So if you contact me for Grandstream stuff and I can't get you in a timely manner, I'm going to refer you to James. So James works very closely with me, and James, I've been referring to him as my second in charge Grandstream guru. So I appreciate everything that James does, and he knows the product maybe even better than I do. So I'm glad that James is here. We're also working with Yaystar, and we'll see how it shakes out. The distributor that Yaystar hooked me up with to get a unit in, Yaystar wants us to become the North American training partner for their PBX product. But I said, well, I need to know your product first. And so they're supposed to be getting me a unit. Well, they've hooked me up, and I'm not yet ready to divulge the name of the distributor. They hooked me up with this distributor in Texas, and the first thing that this distributor in Texas wanted me to do was to open up a line of credit, fill out the credit app. I don't want to extend credit. That's the first thing that I said. I don't extend credit. And so they're like, okay. So I sent them all my company information, legal name, EIN, shipping, billing addresses, names, phone numbers, and all that. And they write me back and they say, if you're unwilling to fill the form out, this is not going to be a good fit for us. And Yaystar will have to give you to another partner. So I was like, hey, sorry, didn't know the information needed to be on the form. Started to fill the form out last night. They want your social security number and your driver's license number in an unencrypted PDF. Then they also have a Word doc where they want you to put your credit card information and send this shit back to them. So I wrote them back and I said, I'm not going to put my social security number and my driver's license number in there, and I'm not going to fill out this credit card form. And if if you're going to make me do that, then no, this partnership is not going to work, and I'll have to figure something else out. And I copied my Yaystar representative in so she knows what's going on when I'm trying to get this. So I'm going to tell you, if there are businesses in 2018 that don't have an acceptably secure way to intake your information, walk away. Look at just what happened with, this wasn't necessarily an input issue, but Marriott, the breach at Marriott that got released yesterday, 500 million accounts, which would still be less than Sony if we lumped all the Sony properties together, but Sony was smart and had them split up. But this particular distributor, I will walk away from this deal, and I know that that Yaystar and 888 VoIP have a relationship, so maybe I can work with them. But this distributor, I'm going to see what their response is, and I'm probably going to do a video on it, because if this vendor is saying, no, you need to put your information, your social security number and your driver's license and your credit card number in this unsecured format and email it, no way. They need to look at their business practices, and anybody who's doing business with them better realize that they've got a huge security problem. And at that point, I will release the name of the company, and I will release all of the emails and everything in a video, because it's not right to be putting people at risk in 2018. It's not right. Harold says, MikroTik are excellent products to low cost. Their reliability is awesome. I make a configuration with UniFi and AP Ubiquiti and works without problems. Yeah. So, yeah, don't let the price fool you on this stuff. Synology's probably replacing. No, Synology, if you came to me right now and you're like, I need a router that'll do IDS, IPS, and I don't want to spend this much, I am probably going to say, let's do a Synology RT 2600 AC, because it's got intrusion prevention, intrusion detection. We've got the mesh units now, so we can start building out a scalable network. The USG, I'm at a point where I almost can't recommend it for new installs, just because I feel like we've stalled out. We've become stagnant. We keep attaching this word enterprise to the USG. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. Do you think the USG is worthy of the word enterprise? I know the edge router is, and the edge switch and those things, because we can do advanced things with those. But do you think that the USG and the UniFi switch line, do you think that they deserve the name enterprise? Please blow up the comments. I want to know. Everybody, there's 116 of you in here. First of all, everybody give me a thumbs up for this. And then everybody in the comments tell me, should UniFi still have the name enterprise associated with it? So come on, 117 of you in here. Get those thumbs ups. Give me your opinion in the comments. I'm going to start reading the opinions here shortly. I want to know, should the USG and the UniFi switch be considered enterprise? And I'm glad there are 118 of you with us here this morning. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that. It means more than you know. All right, so here's what other people besides me are saying. They're saying, no, they need to get a true UTM built in. I use edge routers. Not yet. Nope. Edge before USG. Not till they get a UTM. Not enterprise, but definitely prosumer. No, the USG is not enterprise. The USG is lacking. I feel it should be to small and medium businesses only. Yes, Schmarvin, but even at the Soho level, we can deploy enterprise grade networks and solutions in 2018 without, a huge cost. Yeah, nope, not yet. Best for home use. Unfortunately, it should be better supportive on IP version 6. Yep, small to medium business, yes. Enterprise, not yet. USG falling on its face. No longer install USG for my small business customers. Nope, not ready for prime time. Bob Carpenter says USG equals stupid JSON file. We'll show that one. No too many site visits to fix. Haven't had USG or edge routers myself, but the AirMax products. Yeah, AirMax is awesome, and AirMax is a great product. No. Somebody says can't light up all 3 dots without it. Who cares about the dots? In fact, the dots are gone in the new version, aren't they? I thought they were gone. No, the problems with that is the Sonic Wall Soho seems a better fit. Edge seems more enterprise. And somebody says, I'm still using Sonic Walls too. So it's not just me. It's not just Willie Howe up here. Blah, 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 blah. Like, no, in the real world, people are looking at this USG and they're going, we've been installing this for years on the premise and the hopes that the software is going to deliver something more. And then the more is not coming. I don't care how fancy the interface of UniFi is, to be honest with you. I don't care. We could still be back in the 3 bubbles. Hell, I don't even need bubbles. We could go back before that. But what I need is real enterprise functionality. I mean, can somebody name for me right now another router that bills itself as enterprise where you can't do manual DNAT and SNAT and you can't have multiple WAN IPs? Name for me another router that bills itself as enterprise that limits you to a single IP address, let alone on a $149 version, a $200 or $199 or $239 version for the Pro, but a $2,500 version in that XG beast that was way early to market. Not saying it's not going to be a great product. I'm saying marketing may have got a little premature marketing happy. Love the Edge router. USG is the candy that gets you started. How many features that we've been waiting for forever? I don't think you will ever see parity feature between the Edge router line and the UniFi line. First of all, the EdgeMax team is pumping out so much great hardware so quickly. The UniFi team can't keep up. And I heard a rumor the other day that there are 2 Ubiquiti employees that are writing custom JSON files for people who are blowing up the support line. And all I can say to those of you who are having their support write these is good luck, because they're probably not documenting it on your account. And then later on, once the controller fixes something, you're going to have problems and you're going to bang your head unless you look over and you've spray painted it on the wall. I use a JSON file and I don't know why I didn't go with an Edge router instead, or a Palo Alto, or a Synology, or the Edge router for me. Like I said, you guys know I love Ubiquiti. I am a you can call me a fanboy. I love MikroTik. I love Synology. I love these companies, and I love Grandstream, but they've all got these things where they get people in this frenzy, and they're not fixing these things. They need to get some of these things addressed. Schmarvin says, I was asked about 2 weeks ago from another IT company why we would install a USG. They install Meraki. He asked what features make it stand out on an enterprise platform. I didn't have an answer. I couldn't sell, well, let me say that. So if I walk into an office, it's got a dynamic WAN IP or even a single static IP. It's got no real amount of traffic. Maybe they got 100 meg internet. Great. USG all day long. But anything that starts to get semi-complicated, I'm gonna go to an Edge router. And you know what? Multiple WAN IP addresses, that's not even complicated, man. It's not even complicated. Multitech was doing that back in the 90s. I don't even know. I don't even know, man. UNMS. So Linksys actually reached out to me. And Linksys reached out to me and they want to know if I would demo and do some videos on their cloud-based software. And what I told them is, if the solution that they're bringing to me is totally cloud-based, that no, I have to decline. I will not. If you want to bring me other products that are not wholly cloud-based, then yes, I will. Because it's 2018 and I'm telling you, cloud is a buzzword with all these security problems. People are finding out that the cloud is expensive. The cloud really is just somebody else's computer, and it's not a fit for everybody, And so now, once presented with the facts, people who were pro cloud, they're like, well, hybrid is the future. Is it? Probably not. You're always going to have people who want control of their data, and I'm going to help those people. I will be here kicking, screaming till the very end, till you find me floating in a cloud. VMware will probably have me put out the pasture. I didn't renew that certification either because I'm done with VMware as far as going up the chain there. Actually looking at converting 4 ESXi servers completely over to Proxmox. So I will be doing some light videos on that, but it's at a place where I cannot do like lots of videos. So, yeah, they do need to drop the enterprise name from the enterprise word. Let's not, anytime anytime I hear enterprise and Ubiquiti, I immediately go to the edge line. And they are going to have to be careful because UNMS is already a better product security wise than UniFi. UNMS, if any of you are using UNMS servers out there, first of all, give yourself a pat on the back. Second of all, have you ever noticed how fast you get notifications? It's right now. As soon as something happens on UNMS, I have a certification. I have a notification. It's boom, right now. UNMS has two-factor authentication built into it already. We've been asking for two-factor authentication on UniFi for how long? Nobody knows what the priorities are. They're not telling us. I'm still going to keep buying UniFi access points and switches and USGs, but I only install them in appropriate places. So we go back to this entire conversation about who's the correct hardware vendor for your solution, which is why I have to do the Ruckus video. I have to do the Ruckus video. And I'm actually going to reach out to Ruckus and see if they'll send me an ICX, which is the campus solution for the lab. I don't know if they will or not. Maybe I'll have to buy one off of eBay. But I will tell you, I believe that they are a fantastic product. Fantastic. So, yeah. Get it. David Anderson says, getting ready to drop VMware for Proxmox here. So I have a customer down in Tennessee, and they were running VMware, had an issue with VMware, decided to drop VMware, and they're on Proxmox now. So I'm supporting Proxmox in the wild. And David, full disclosure, David Anderson here, I do some consulting for David. Just did a quote for him for point-to-point phones, and the phone would be programmed. So you open a box outside, you pick up the handset, it automatically calls. It's for a farm setup for calling from a scale to the scale house. The truck driver would open the box, grab the phone as soon as you pick up the phone, and we're just using standard Grandstream $36 phones or $38 phones. Pick up the phone, it automatically rings the scale house. And I've done some other things for David. David's a good guy. He's a hometown boy. So yeah, UNMS is awesome. So Ben, Cisco is, Ben says, I would use Cisco if it wasn't for their seriously expensive pricing model. But Cisco is one of these just behemoths, and if they weren't charging what they did, they couldn't support their entire operation at this point. I mean, they are so big that there would be more layoffs, and there would be more, restructuring and things like that. There is no such thing as too big to fail. There is no such thing. So, hey, Daryl. Yeah, Ruckus is good stuff. And so if you've been following Brocade, I was a fan of Brocade before Brocade kind of got some of their assets kind of got split up and sold different ways, and the switch went here, and then to Broadcom, and then Broadcom sold it to Ruckus, and Ruckus is now Aris. And it's one of those things, man. It's like these IT companies, it's like playing chess. So, hey, Vienna, you need to go to williehow.com and fill out the contact form. Let's see. Anyone have anything to say about AeroHive? AeroHive, I believe, and you'll have to look this up, Mr. Carpenter, but I believe that I saw something, and I read an article, and I want to say it's AeroHive, but AeroHive, I believe, was the first access point provider in the United States to bring 802.11ax. Is that the new thing? 802.11ax. Yeah, I believe it was AeroHive. Let me look that up real quick. And I believe they announced that back in July, something like that. You guys are going to have to fact check me on that, so it's not fake news. But I do believe that it was one of the bigger names back in July. They were the first first ones. So, anytime you get into a vendor like a Ruckus or an Aerohive, they've got some advanced features. Now, they've got, is it Aerohive or Ruckus? Maybe both of them at this point in the game. They've got a feature where you can take an access point and it's got basically a router built into it, and you configure it and you take it off site, take it to your home office. You can plug a voice over IP phone into it, but when this thing comes on, it builds a VPN back to HQ. It has the same corporate Wi-Fi. You can plug your voice over IP phone in. It gives you an extension of the office through the access point. So that is something that, when you get into features like that, you pay for that feature set. So it just all depends. So let's think about this, right? We think about all these companies and all this gear and all the e-waste and shit we have, right? But just think about this. Like, somebody's like, oh, voice is dying. Voice is not dying. We are selling more handsets now as an industry than we've ever sold. You think about this. Walk into a school, if you have kids and you drop them off at school, every classroom has a phone. There's phones in the commons, things like that. Every business building is having at least one telephone, so they are not going away. Do you just think about an area the size of take the metropolitan area that you're in, blow it up on a Google map, and take your Google map, go to the metropolitan area that you're in, and zoom in on the map and look at the businesses and how big the businesses are. I mean, how many handsets? So just take that and equate it to computers. How many computers does it take to make things run? How many servers does it take to make things run? How many access points does it take to make things run, right? So I was just in Dollar General, and Dollar General, I think, is 9,000 square feet, and I think they had 3 access points. And I think they're Meraki, which is not my favorite, but All right, so let's go back to the comments here for just a second. And by the way, 123 of you, man, I love you guys. I really couldn't do this without you. So, make sure, man, thank you. I just can't. We'll have to do a drink night Q&A, and it could just get absolutely ridiculous, or lit, as the kids are saying, I guess. Let's see here. I have absolutely no idea what Steve Henry is talking about. Let's see. I don't know what Steve Henry. Does anybody know who Steve Henry is? He's going on a rant. So yeah, not sure what that's all about. All right. High Flow says Cisco makes very cheap routers for ISPs, too cheap with crappy parts. So no way I buy Cisco. Yeah. So when I had a cable modem here, instead of the fiber, I had a Cisco cable modem, and I had to call. They didn't even call it bridge mode. They had some stupid word that they used, and you couldn't call in tech support because tech support was not based in the States. No, it was the chat. It was the online chat that was not based in the States. Had no idea what I was talking about. So then I had to go to Mediacom's forum, their online forum, create an account, put our account number in, go in. They call it baselining the modem. And it's the most stupid thing I've ever. Why can't I call in and say, I'd like my modem put in bridge mode? Is that too damn hard? I have to create a forum account, So it's just like, I need to create this guide for all these people who are stuck in tech support hell with all of these local companies who are cheaping out, not providing local help anymore, which is ridiculous. It's a whole other rant for me there. But Harold Pete says, oh, hey, the small lemon, how you doing? Let's see. Willie, what do you think about a PC with UniFi video and free PBX? Harold, I think it's a PC with UniFi video and free PBX. I certainly won't be doing a video on that. But yeah, Dennis sent me a picture the other day, man. He's growing the scruff, man. Look Oh, this is beautiful. My wife actually doesn't want me to shave, which blows my mind. Yeah, good old yeah, Comcast. Comcast is actually easier to work with, Barry, because if you have their gear, you can log in, you can click the bridge mode button, and you're done. Um, so yeah, MediaCom is a joke, absolute joke when it comes to tech support. And I know there are some good people that work there higher up, but getting to those higher up people, yeah, AT&T, and we've also now, just so you know, excuse me, been put in a position where Verizon, if you have FiOS, will not, in certain areas, they will not bridge the modem for us. Not doing it. So guess what? Can't do auto site to site anymore on Unify. So now I've been configuring a lot of Open VPN. A lot of Open VPN. I like it because it just works, but Auto VPN just works too. But Verizon in the eastern states, eastern coast, they won't put it in bridge mode. Yeah. Yeah, Barry's got an epic beard too. Cisco ASA is still pretty solid, except the 5505 is completely end of life. Yeah. I've got a couple Cisco ASAs here on loan from Dennis. So I should do a video on that. I will tell you that the ASA will do one thing that the Edge router won't, and it has to do with a NATed VPN setup. Other than that, what I don't like, David, is you have to buy different licensing levels for the Cisco ASA. By default, what do you get? 10 or 25 users or whatever. And to get a full class C, you have to buy the unlimited license. That's stupid. It's absolutely stupid to have to license. Just sell me different models of hardware if you're going to bend me over like that. Just make me buy different models of hardware instead of different licenses. I mean, at least Microsoft's upfront about screwing you on licensing. Is it possible to make a video about VMware on low cost and power saving hardware? No, it is not. I will not do a video. Here's the thing. Could I find some low power hardware that would run VMware? Yes. Every time VMware does an update, the hardware compatibility list, the HCL, changes. They drop hardware off, they add new hardware. VMware, if you are running on hardware that is in the HCL, can be very good. The minute you're on hardware that is not on the HCL, if you have a problem, good luck. So that's why you should look at other products if you're not going to build an environment that is really built for VMware, because VMware makes good stuff, but man, it's expensive. And these other products will actually do the exact same thing, sometimes better. And VMware is another one of those companies that has great marketing, like long distance vMotion. I will be mad about this. Long distance vMotion, well, you have to have a minimum of 250 megabits symmetrical between the sites to do long distance vMotion. How many companies in the, well, okay, can't say that because there are companies that have that, but the majority of companies are not going to have 250 meg symmetrical fiber with low latency between the sites. Not going to happen, so they're catering to companies that can afford that, and that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just at a point where VMware is not for us anymore, and it's going to be a Proxmox world, baby. I have 7 access points in my house, all Ubiquiti. Hardline. I have a big yard. Yeah, the outdoor mesh, the UAP mesh, that Pro, man, that I use that. I never use it as a mesh. I tell this story all the time. I don't sell the Ubiquiti mesh as a mesh system, but I sell the heck out of them as outdoor access points because they are awesome. Shortel, Daryl, is another one of those licensing companies. Nope. So at this point, for us, it is Grandstream for voice over IP, and then we are trying to onboard Yaystar. Like I said, Yaystar wants us to be the national training partner. So we're going to see how that pans out. But yeah, Yaystar Yaystar's got a pretty good offering, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm just not I mean, free PBX works really well for a lot of people. I'm just not a fan of presenting that interface to the customer. And it'll be interesting to see how the industry ultimately responds to Sangoma owning Digium, who like legally owns the rights to Asterisk. And there are other open source PBX platforms, FreeSwitch, and there are other things built on FreeSwitch. So I'm wondering if we're going to see an uptick in those projects. It wouldn't surprise me, but not sure if you noticed, but Ubiquiti depreciated some of their VPN options earlier in November. Was following your YouTube guide. Roll right. I did not notice that. Please send me an email with what's been depreciated. Yeah. So, Jorn, yeah, none of these companies are really manufacturing their own hardware anymore. They're OEMing it, right? So it's all coming out of China. So I don't know if you guys are Back to the Future fans. I'm a huge Back to the Future fan, but there's this scene between Doc and Marty, and Doc's like, "Oh, there's the problem. It's made in China." And Marty's like, "What do you mean, Doc? All the good stuff's made in China." And so it's like everything is OEM in China, and then so OEM, it's labeled Cisco, it's labeled Grandstream, it's labeled Ubiquiti. Ubiquiti stuff comes out of Chinese manufacturing too. So, you know, oh boy. Ben says, I've heard VMware is dropping support for the Intel Xeon X series processors. If they do that, there's going to be a lot of unsupported vSphere ESXi systems, probably. So I have been keeping up to my patch levels that I'm legally licensed for, but I have not been looking at doing anything new with VMware. I've actually started the testing of how to migrate from VMware. You're talking 70 servers on 3 hosts. Migrate those over to Proxmox. So how it's going to have to happen is it had to be server install, Proxmox joined to the storage, which is all iSCSI, and then migrating hosts from one VMware server over to a Proxmox box. Take the VMware server down, install Proxmox on it, and then just keep going down the line. So, not 100% sure who that is. So I did have an incident with my family last night. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not going to put that on you guys, but I'm wondering if that was a phone call about how my family member is doing. We'll see. And that may have been my uncle. Anyway, I'll get to that here shortly. I just don't recognize the number, and it didn't have any call history. So, yeah. All right. Let's keep going here. We've got a customer on an old Dell R710 from 2008, 2009, running server 2008 R2. Got to find a way to migrate. Yeah. Yep. Everybody's looking at migration paths. Everybody's looking at migration paths. David Anderson's is getting a quote from System 76. If you're not familiar with them, they are the entire Linux company, build Linux desktops, laptops, and servers. Great company. They've committed to bringing all their manufacturing back to the States. Let's see. Was that Japan, not China? Made in Japan? Did I get that wrong? Fast compliance? Did I get the quote wrong? Was it China or Japan? Man, see, somebody correct me. In Back to the Future, was the line made in Japan or made in China? And maybe it was made in Japan because we have a Japan. Shit. Oh, there I go, screwing up movie quotes. I'm gonna get docked for that. Let's see. You can get. There are companies that will do extended hardware warranties. Okay, I apologize. I got the Back to the Future quote wrong. It's all the good stuff's made in Japan, not China. For some reason, I was thinking China, Japan. So give me my slaps on the wrist now, internet. Let's see here. Yeah, didn't leave a message. So let's see here real quick. Oh no, that was my brother. And now my wife's calling. Hold on a second. Hey, don't say anything crazy. I'm on a live stream. Oh, he is? Good. All right. Love you. Bye. All right. So good news. My uncle is home and is going to be doing okay. So that is fantastic. It's great news. All right. Mark, no, GrandStream at this point well, you could support multiple tenants if you wanted to manually do it, but it's not like GrandStream can go in and have like multiple companies and partitions set up. You could manually rig something and, but yeah, Schmarvin, I was thinking China because everything's made in China. Japanese stuff probably is better. Nintendo's Japanese, right? Nintendo is awesome. No knock Nintendo. You guys remember when I did a video in this hat and somebody's like, Willie must have lost a bet. Willie must have lost a bet. Willie did not lose a bet. Willie grew up in the Mario age and Willie loves this hat. Willie's wife knows that he's a Mario. That's what keeps me buying Nintendo stuff is Mario. She knows that I'm a Mario kind of guy and she saw that. And occasionally I wear a lid. So what's up? What's up with that? You got a problem me wearing a hat? I love you guys. All right. So let's see. Have a question about RF management. Is there any best practices? So I just went through this with a customer not that long ago. And yes, there are best practices on how to do that. There are companies that will sell you a $5,000 to $10,000 walkthrough to tell you how to do that. I will not sell you a $5,000 to $10,000 walkthrough to tell you how to do that. In talking with Tom Lawrence and talking about our business practices and things like that, he brought up an idea, and I think I'm going to try it out too. And it is where I'm going to do like webinars and I'm going to cap it at like 10 to 12 people. And I think that might be my first webinar. So it would be like an hour and a half webinar and it would be like $120 to get into the webinar. And that's all we would talk about. And then there would be like Q&A and stuff like that. Does everybody think that's a good idea? I mean, I would cap it to like 10 or 12 people. That way there's enough time for everybody to answer questions. And of course, if you've ever worked with me, you know that just because you pay me for an hour doesn't mean you don't get an hour and 15 minutes worth of work, and that, I don't, you get a little bit more. So, if you think that would be a good idea and you would be interested in those like 10 to 12 on one interactions, let me know. Put it in the comments. Shoot me an email. I'll put my email down here. And so there's my email, my website. So if you would be interested in doing it yet this year, December, and you want to talk about RF design and all that, please go to williehowe.com, fill out the contact form. And if I get 10 to 12 people who are interested in doing like an hour and a half webinar where we talk about this and you would actually see it live on a controller, let me know and we'll get that spun up this year. We'll do it. We'll pick a date and we'll just get it done, and probably actually go like 2 hours. So, yeah. So, Barry, if you want to put that in the Facebook group that I'm going to be doing that webinar, and people need to go over to williehowe.com, fill out the contact form if they're interested in that webinar. Like I said, I'm going to cap it maximum of 12 people, minimum of 10 to get that up and going. So, let's see if we can figure that out. I've got a tool that we could definitely use to do that. And we will, It would need to be later in the evening so that us working stiffs can participate. Hey man, I'm a working stiff too. I get it, you know? So, and you know, that's why I fill a different niche than some of the other consulting companies because of my hours, I get home, I do some administrative stuff when I can, when I'm with the family and we eat dinner and we have family time. And then the phone calls start, later in the evening. And some of you have been on the phone with me at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And so how that goes. But yes, one more time, if you are interested in a 1.5 to 2 hour webinar, it would be pay for play, probably $120 for the session. If you're interested in that, go to williehowe.com, fill out the contact form. Once we get 10 people, we will do it. And if I get interest for more people than that, I will break it up into extra. We'll do more than one, depending on what that looks like. So, Keith, the webinar is going to be about RF design and how to use the tools that are available to you to do that, and talking about how all of these things work. So, yeah, but definitely, I love teaching, and a lot of people have heard me rattle on about RF and RF design, and it's one of those topics we could sit here and talk about all day. And there are guys that they like live the physics that are behind this, and those are the guys I love talking to because I learn so much and I absorb so much, and they get excited about physics, and I get excited about the physics, and it's pretty cool. It's absolutely pretty cool. So we are an hour and 21 minutes in, and I think I've talked about just about everything I wanted to talk about for today. Like I said, lots of videos. I do have a special video that's going to be prompted by it was prompted by a question that someone asked me. Will something work? Well, sure, it'll work. I never done it, but we're going to make it work, and we're just going to fly through it. Keith, I don't know about 1.10.8. I'm running 1.10.7 on all my stuff right now. But Randy, I can't start over, man. But I am going to get that video done tonight. And then, after everybody's in bed and I've got customer commitments that I need to take care of, and getting the schedule lined up here through the holidays. And and then I've got an appointment first thing in the morning and some stuff going on tomorrow night. So I've got appointments before everybody gets up tomorrow and appointments after everybody goes to bed. Got appointments after everybody goes to bed tonight. So that is, I think, all that I wanted to say. I'm looking around, deciding if there's anything else I need to show you at the moment. And I don't think that there is, but let's recap this real quick. So I love the Unify line. If you listened to me earlier, you might think that I didn't. I do like the Unify line. I'm only going to use it where appropriate. So we're going to take that. If you saw my Cisco versus UBNT video, I'm going to take that. I'm going to do another video about that, about choosing the right hardware. And it will talk about why I chose Ruckus Brocade, and I will still deploy USGs, but I'm only going to deploy them in very specific scenarios. I will deploy edge routers in different scenarios or same scenarios. It just depends. So, it's not that I'm not going to buy the hardware. It's just that I'm going to be very particular about where I deploy the hardware. So, yeah, Jeff, I will let you know. I'm supposed to be going to Wisconsin. I'm supposed to be going up to Racine. A customer and a friend of mine is in Racine. I need to go up to his warehouse. So I may be in the Wisconsin area. I don't know if it's going to be yet this year. I still need to get to New York, and I need to get to Utah. So, but and all things take time. So I want to thank all of you for being here today. I want to thank all of the subscribers, all of the viewers, everybody. Really, truly, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I wouldn't have a reason to do this without you. So once again, thank you. If you need consulting, go over to williehowe.com, fill out that contact form. If we can't help you, we'll get you to somebody who can. That's our pledge to you. We do best practices in wired and wireless networking, voice over IP, and security. And then, of course, Tim does all of the web development and things like that. We do, if you go over to the website, williehowe.com, you can fill out the contact form, you can get on the newsletter, and you can get over to the Discord channel. If you check out previous videos, you're going to see links to my Amazon shop. You're also going to see links to the Patreon channel. So there is a $20 Patreon, and the $20 Patreons are taking a road trip with me. The $20 the $20 patrons at the that are on my Patreon are getting monthly videos that only they can see. The first one for November is late, will be coming out this week, but I am studying for my CISSP, and I am taking a couple of topics, and once a month, those $20 patrons are getting access to that video that does not go out to the regular YouTube. If you are a patron, I'm trying to get early access. First of all, if you're a patron, thank you. I'm trying to get early access to the videos. The last few weeks have been a cluster with me being sick, and then just trying to make sure that content is on the channel, because if you have a YouTube channel, you know that things are affected about how often you release content and things like that. So we just make sure that we've got good content coming out, regularly. But once again, I do, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.